Hello, anyone out there? Is there like a shadow here? Has my camera moved? Am I clipping my light? Am I going mad? I have a second monitor for OBS and chat, and so this is where if I look this way, that's what I'm seeing. So I've only got a tiny little window. Hang on. Mic's on an arm, so I can bring the mic with me. Right. How's this? Hang on. Do I need to zoom in? Am I zoomed in enough? Obviously knocked this somewhere because it's sort of very precariously attached to my wall, because it used to be attached to my desk, and then whenever I knocked the desk, the whole thing would shake. Okay. Right. Yeah, but now hang on. Got the back of this now. I think the zoom is wrong. Hang on. Bear with me, team, while we get this sorted. Okay, hang on, now I've just bumped into the... I think it needs... Is that better? Move the chair out of the way. Right. Of course, now, hang on. Okay, I'm pretty zoomed in on this, but I think that's okay. Right. Well, that's fun. Wasn't expecting to do that. That's what happens. That's what happens when you don't stream when you miss a stream. Everything goes to shit. Hello, everyone. You can. I've not been paying attention, so feel free to read your own names and welcome yourselves. Only because I was trying to sort out the infrastructure issues. Right. It's hot. I'm tired. I'm bothered. Let's do some C++. The pattern on the wall is just 2 hexagons. There's nothing. There's no deep lore. You don't have to read into it. It's just when I bought them, that was one of the suggested patterns, and it looked like it kind of filled up a lot of space. Right, let's see where we're at. So character controller, I think we got reasonably far. Also, for some reason, S-Top has a really nice like Braille, which I really like Braille style graphs, which I really like to look at. And for some reason, that's gone and is now just blocks. But if I run it over here, sorry, not S-Top, P-Top. Oh no, it's gone. Fix that later. That's really annoying me. Like, really annoys me when things like don't work exactly how I want them to. Maybe I should have a bit more leniency on things. But like this graph really irks me, and I don't know what I've done to change it. So that's great. Anyway, right. I feel like my head is too big in this. Right, okay, so we got this. Then if we go to the debug camera, we now have our capsule, okay? Now, yeah, I might need to zoom out. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Okay. Just a fraction out. And then what's this like on the main view? It's good enough. Good enough. Okay, so yeah, we've got a bean. I slipped on my beans. If anyone watches Bluey, which obviously I do. Got a capsule. I think today, so there's a couple of things, if I remember correctly, there's kind of shortcuts I took, especially around the serialization, because I couldn't bother to fix them. May have to fix those later, but I think for now, I think we just want to try and get this moving, because I think there's kind of a lot of moving parts needed to get that moving. Like we kind of have a top level key mapper thing. And then we're going to need different logic paths depending on which camera we're on. So we're probably going to need some sort of not entity class. What am I thinking of? Like, what does Unreal calls like pawn? But do you know what I mean? Like some sort of like character class, and then we can have a debug camera class and then a player class, and then each of those will then be active at once, and the inputs will just feed into those. So we're not moving them all at the same time. I'm sure isn't Unreal, isn't it like as in like, am I making this up? Have I just completely made this up? Also, was that just not showing for anyone there? Yeah, sorry. Let me I don't know what I'm doing. Great. I hate everything. Okay, fine. This is what we got. Our Katsuel. And we need to be able to move it there. Okay, fine. Let's go. Yeah. The pawn class is the base class of all actors. That's what I was thinking of. I might want an act class. I probably won't call it pawn, but this is controlled by players or AI. So yeah, there you go. Hello. Wrong button. Jesus Christ. Okay, right. I think we need to go back to the Jolt code here. Right. And see if we can figure out how they were doing it. So they had because we're going to need some way of controlling this at the moment. So at the moment we can get the position and the orientation of the virtual character controller, but we cannot do anything with it. Yes. Character no, where's, sorry, it's been so long since I've done this now. And by so long I mean like a week. Test framework. Where was there? Samples. Tests. I know they call it tests. Character virtual test. Update, we think. So they blah, 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 blah. They call well, I think we just call it update rather than extended update, but that's fine. Where do they do the calculate effective velocity? Handle input. Here we go. A cheap way to update the player's ground velocity. The platforms that the character's staying on may have changed velocity. Do I care? We haven't got platforms. Maybe I can just keep this as simple as possible. So determine new basic velocity. So the current, I'm going to have only horizontal velocity, right? We're not doing any jumps or anything at the moment. So that's fine. Ground velocity is fine. Uninitialized variable, but whatever. Right, so once I've calculated, so I can calculate the velocity, right? That's fine, because we already do that. Where do I stick the velocity? Where does the velocity go? Oh, you just call set linear velocity. Is that literally it? So does that mean if I go back to the code, if I do virtual character controller, can I do character set linear velocity? Which way's away from the, so 0.0f, 0.0f, and then what into the camera? Hang on, it's right hand rule. So it's negative away from you. Is OpenGL my favorite graphics API? It's certainly the graphics API I know the best. And I don't have enough experience of any of the others to say whether I have a preference. Oh, he's off. Let him go. Kind of feel like, I don't know about you, kind of feel like gravity should have kicked in at some point. Because there's no floor rigid bodies here. Like, gravity, hello? Does one have to manually gravity? Is it because it's a, well, it's not technically a rigid body, right? It's, where's me browser? It's not, it's oh God, what's the term? Kinematic controller. So, oh, you do give it an up gravity. Here we go. Just comment. This comment just says gravity. Plus equals character up rotation times the physics system gravity times the in delta. I have no opinions on Dart because I've never used it. So how does one character up rotation? Character up rotation is to match the up vector set by the user settings. I think it's just going to be up, isn't it? So do I... Oh, sorry, wrong button. Really not having a great time today. So let's do auto new velocity. Velocity equals, we should talk in terms of our types, right? Because that makes more sense. So let's do 0.0f, 0.0f, minus 1.0f. Actually, let's make him go like real slow. Then let's do new keep going. 3 out of 10 new subs. Exciting. Good weekend, by the way. It's been alright. It's been hot and been pretty busy, but it's been okay. Thank you for asking. How about yourself? Correct. Just keeping you on your toes. And again, still there. Okay, new velocity plus equals. I'm gonna do vector 3 0.0 f 1.0 f 0.0 f. Well, I feel that should be negative times. I haven't got access to the physics system here, have I? Oh, it's so annoying. So this is gonna need. So hang on, let's go back to the physics. Sorry, I'm gonna be jumping around all over the place today. So here's where we update the player controller. So what does physics system get me? I can get gravity. All right, but what type is that? That's a vector 3. Okay, fine. So that's going to need to be dependency injected into here. So let's do nope, don't need that. Let's do const vector 3 gravity. So I think I just sack this off, right? I think I just do that plus gravity times. So if I times it, I do have new velocity. Thank you. If so in their code here, they times it by the delta time, but delta time is a float. So didn't I have to do some shenanigans for this to get it? I need to times it by 1 over delta count, don't I? So let's do this. Let's do const auto delta float equals 1.0 f over delta dot count, right? So this gives us everything in the sort of jolts. In fact, actually, let's be more explicit. Let's call this jolt delta, because that is what effectively we're doing, right? And then here we can do jolt delta. Okay, so gravity times that, and then we can do 2 native new velocity. Something like that. Pretty sure 2 native is a thing for vectors. Oh no, sorry, it's 2 jolt, isn't it? But yeah. Maybe if we need it more than once, like I would argue for a lot of code, the correct place for it is right next to where it's needed. If it's only needed in one place, once it's needed in more than one place, that's kind of my mental process for when to start breaking stuff out into functions. Like obviously, if the function is massive, you could decompose it anyway, but I try and keep stuff as close to the point where it's actually used, and then only then start to abstract it out. Okay, so we got that. So let's go to the physics system, and then do 2 native physics. Already gone. Where did it get? Gravity. Physics system. Okay, gravity. Too many. What are you chatting about? It's Vec3, and I have a Vec3. What are you chatting about? We'll see what the compiler has to say about that. Header file. Oh, yes. Yeah. Fuck right off. Sling your hook. For everyone just joining us, Jolt is very particular about the order of the header files that you include. So I abstract that all away into one file to manage the misery. And it also has some deprecations in there that it doesn't like. So the problem is though, Clang D, I guess, or at least the LSP, is super helpful. And every time it sees a new thing, it's like, you're probably going to want the header for that. And 99% of the time it's correct, except for this specific case where I don't want the header, because the header's already taken care of. Yes, you're right. I think you're... That graph is really bugging me. I might turn it off. There you go, gone away. Right. I'm missing a reference somewhere. Just seen it. There. Spend enough time looking at C+ error messages, and you can almost make some order of the chaos, some meaning within the entropy. Okay. You've just fallen straight through the floor now. Great. So why is he not... I kind of have the opposite problem now. Like these grey lines here are rigid bodies. So I'm gonna have to handle the... I'm gonna have to manually handle the... Right, let's go read some... Right, this is today, guys. We're reading the sample. There's got to be something about collision in here. So I don't care about character versus character collision because we only have one actor. There's no floor over there to collide with. I think there is though, isn't there? Didn't we? Before I go off on one, we just check. No, it's jolt physics. No, I don't. Oh, I see what you mean. No, I think it's just straight up falling into the. I do see what you mean. Let's prove this out. by killing this, okay? I reckon, I posit to you, this will still fall through the floor. I think this is the issue with the kinesthetic style character controllers. We still have to manually tell it about the collisions. I could be wrong. I would love to be wrong. No, mate, he's still falling. And I think the speed it's falling, I think even if it was clipping through and it was handling that, I think it would pop back up because I don't think it's moving fast enough for tunneling. But now we know, correct. It's the smoking gun, if you will, if you were talking to an AI. Okay, all right, let's go back to this and be like, hey, collision, don't care about that, don't care about that. Character, don't care about that. Here we go. Whoa. Oh, this is validate that context to sync with the character. Okay, this isn't an assert, so I think we're getting closer. There's definitely this M character get active contacts. Okay, this might be in one of the many base classes. I can't remember what this inherits from. Is it character base or is it first? See, this has a character contact listener. Interessant. On character contact added, on contact solve called. Here you go, what's this? Oh, excuse me, right. On common functions we call when contacts are added persisted, handle input, add character movement setting, on contact solve called whenever the character movement is solved and constraint is hit. Allows the listener to override the resulting character velocity, e.g. by preventing sliding on certain surfaces. Emery, 2 years. Thank you very much. What a great achievement. Thank you very much. Okay. So where does one shove the character contact listener? Because base can't be aware of it because this is derived further up the chain. There's definitely like... I'm definitely missing something somewhere. To be honest, I have no clue what I'm staring at either, so... On contact added is the callback for collisions. Correct, yes, I think that's the case. I think it is the callback for the collisions. What I'm saying is, how is that registered? Like, I don't think just inheriting from this class inherently adds you to the physics system. Somewhere in Jolt, it'll be expecting a character contact listener, of which this is that, so it'll be passing itself in. Hang on. Will the shape eventually be able to plop onto the floor and roll around a bit? No, it should be locked. Its angular momentum should be locked to just the y-axis. I think that's right. Like, it should only be able to rotate around the y-axis. X and Z should be locked. Otherwise, it will just... I remember when I first tried Bullet for a university project, and I didn't realize this was the case, and I attached the camera to the capsule and then simulated it and then nearly threw up from motion sickness because the capsule immediately fell over and started rolling and the camera was just going like whoa. So what am I doing with my life? So you got this new character virtual, which I don't know. We do be doing that. I'm just really worried you need to use this character versus character collision for all character collisions. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel... Because you add the character... Here you go. Can I find... What is this? What is this? So this is a character versus character collision simple, right? Sure. It sure seems... Right, what's this when it's at home? Nowhere. Great. Okay. Can't search. Okay. What is... This must be self-defined somewhere, right? I don't think they've got that in their... I could clone the code and grep for it. Unless it is just in character virtual. Okay, it'll find it is. Simple collision checker that loops over all registered characters. This is a brute force checking algorithm. If you have lots of characters, you may want to store your characters in a hierarchical structure to make it more efficient. Note that this is not thread safe, so make sure only one character virtual is checking collision at a time. And you add a character virtual. This just seems like character. Here you go, what's this? Character virtual. The object usually represents the player. Contrary to the character class, it doesn't use a rigid body, but moves doing collision checks only, hence the name virtual. The advantage of this is that you can determine when the character moves in the frame. Usually this has to happen to a very particular point in the frame. But the downside is that other objects don't see the virtual character. To make a character virtual visible to the simulation, you can optionally create an inner rigid body. Do I need an inner rigid body for this to work? A character virtual is not tracked. This also means that a core physics safe state will... So do I have a character... So I have a character virtual, right? Yeah, so I think I need to go back to... So they actually have an example of this, and I think I skipped over it. Here, inner body shape, and I want the inner standing shape. So I need to work out what the hell an inner... whatever the inner... Oh, my goodness. Right. I bet it's in here. It's always in here. Right. Okay, mate, sure, but like, where do you set that? Here we go. If it's a capsule, then I create a rotated translated shape settings of another capsule shape. Is this... How does this... Didn't I... I already have a shape. Oh, hang on. There's a difference here. Oh, no, wrong button. So they have both the standing shape and then the inner standing shape. And the inner standing shape looks very similar. I would posit almost the same. Oh, here you go. What's this? It differs here because after the height standing, they have the inner shape fraction times, so they make it slightly smaller or larger, depending on whatever the hell this is when it's at home. This could be literally anywhere. I can't remember how I found this last time. I think it was wishful thinking. Because if you click this, sometimes the GitHub tool will help you out, and other times it will absolutely not. Okay, not in there. Character test. Not in there. It's not going to be in the CPP file, surely. That's what it's all used to make. This is at the top. No, I'm just sort of spinning around in circles now. Where the bloody hell was this? I could log in. Bored of this. Okay. What was that? What was I after? C. Hang on. I want the C inner shape. RG. Ooh. Character base test. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure I looked in there. Pretty sure I looked in there. Okay, fine. Cool. So it's 0.9. So all we have to do is now. All we have to do is do inner chape, and this will be 20G, and then this is. Hang on, I know you can't see it. Bear with me. Hold on. Don't panic. This was exactly the same, but you put for this character radius stand. What? Here you do 0.9. Right? I think that's right. So you have the inner shape fraction, which is a half. So 0.5 times the inner shape fraction, which I've already pulled out. Then comma the. So it's either the height or the width. It's making one of them slightly smaller. Right. Okay. And then how do I? Where's all this miserable instantiation gubbins? Here we go. Right. So inner shape. So, and then we can do settings inner body shape equals inner shape question mark, and then settings in settings inner body layer equals what type is this? This is an object layer, so I think I want static cast Jupiter object layer, and then I want to do that's not how you static cast, is it? And then I want to do Christ physics layer static. I don't know how I then make it interact with the rigid one, with the dynamic ones as well, but we haven't got any. Yes, correct. Good shout. I think that's. Should we see if that blends? Feeling positive. Well, I've certainly now got two shapes, so I've made progress. That doesn't explain at all in the slightest. No, again, I'm going to collision. Yes, so I assume I still need to do something with the collisions then. But this one of these many tabs. Where was I? Bet I've lost the tab with that big comment in it. Here you go. But the downside is other to make a character virtual visible to the simulation, you can optionally create an inner rigid body through create virtual settings and modular shape. A character virtual is not tracked by the physics system, so you need to update it yourself. But like, if you just read that comment, right? I think you could be forgiven for thinking this is just enough, because it says to make a character virtual visible to the simulation, you can optionally create an inner rigid body, right? And that's what we did. So my interpretation of that is, if you want to make this visible to the simulation, all you have to do is add a rigid body. Clearly that's not right. But do you see? That is my interpretation of that comment, of that documentation, right? But there is this set listener, which is, I think someone mentioned this and I might have ignored it. Sorry, set listener. So let's go back to, so here we go. Install contact listener for all characters. So I do need this set listener. Okay. Yes. Well, I mean, like, the logic for two objects intersecting is handled by the physics engine, right? That's what the physics engine does. So again, by opting into that, like, my interpretation of the physics simulation can now see your object means it knows how to interact with it. Clearly that's wrong, okay? But I just... Okay, right. Anyway, so now we need a... I reckon this is where we need that... character contact listener. So let's do... Sorry, I've got a sign today. So let's make this a... It doesn't even need to be public, right? I never want to refer to the... It probably does need to be public. GPH... character contact listener. Oh, okay. I'm hoping that should not blend unless it is a abstract class where there is implementations for all the overridden all the virtual methods. I'm hoping it's going to pop and say you've not implemented these methods. Sorry, thank you. You've just missed all that. All I did was, okay, I think this is going to blend. Interesting. Okay, all I did was make it this, right? So now we should be able to then do character add, no, help, set listener, this. Okay, right. We've constructed, so that means then that this must have virtual methods with all defaults. Do nothing. Okay, fine, yeah. So you've got on adjust body velocity, on contact validate, on character contact validate, called whenever the character collides with the body for the first time, on contact added. Christ, right, we're going to have to figure all this out now. Where am I using an owning raw pointer? If it's here, it's not technically owning because this is the miserable Jupiter ref, which is basically a shared pointer, and I don't really have much of a choice around it. It's somehow worse than a shared pointer because it's a hand-rolled one that is slightly mystical to me. Yes, there's a test for this. So what we can do is we can now go back to virtual character test, and then we can start seeing. So this implements a lot of these. So check if a character is on contact validate. So we basically need to go and look at the implement, what they do in their test for all of these, and how we care about it. I know, right? Think how much more efficient Jolt would be if it just had a linear understanding of ownership. Right. So let me go. Okay, so what was the first one? Assuming they're all in order. So let's look at on contact validate. Oh my goodness, right, okay. Only accept back-facing contacts if the surface normal, which was flipped, points outside a cone of 30 degrees from the up axis to prevent being able to stand on upside-down faces. This prevents us from sticking to the bottom planes of the steep slope and acute angle triangles that face downwards. But you right, let's look at the next one. On adjust body velocity. At least there's comments, right? Apply artificial velocity to the character when standing on the conveyor belt. I haven't got a conveyor belt. I think a lot of this we can ignore. Like, I don't think I care about this. Unless, look, this returns a bool, so do I have to... The question, I guess, is what is this returning, and do I care about it being not the default? So I think there's gonna be a lot of back and forth with. Can I find close some of these down? Just do my head in. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So let's go to character virtual. No, wait a minute. I want character contact listener. And we are looking at on contact validate. That's not what I wanted. I am. Right. Where did I sit with all the comments? No, I want... What? I don't want a logging... What? I want the original. Is it just in character virtual? Oh my god, I hate everything. It's probably a docs page for this somewhere, but here I am. Right, here we go. On checks if a character can collide with a specific body, return true if the contact is valid. So presumably, I want to always return true. Oh, and the default is that, so that's fine. Okay, tick one off. Okay, right. I use LLMs a lot, especially for like conversations and stuff like that, and talking about docs and stuff like that. But I'm not using it on this project because it takes a lot of the, to be honest, it takes a lot of the fun out of it, even if it is quote unquote more productive. I think it's difficult for learning. I think it's okay as a tutor. Especially if you prompt it, be like, please don't give me the answer, but try and help me get there. That's great. I think if you just ask it for code, your brain has no reason to retain it, right? If you learn through making mistakes, right? Because if you make a mistake, you presume you've gone through some misery of that mistake, and then when you learn it, you kind of earned that knowledge, and your brain will be like, I will remember this, so I don't have to go through this misery again. If there's no misery associated with it, your brain has no reason to retain it, because... And if you know the LLM will always give you the answer, you're never going to remember anything. That's kind of my view on it. Like, you've got to make mistakes. You've got to allow yourself to make mistakes. Boy, am I making a lot of mistakes with this. Right, next one. We're going to have to go through all of these, okay, so we can know what we want. So we don't need this. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to top to bottom these. As we find ones we need, I will implement them. The next one is on adjust body velocity. These are not in all. That is not in here. Great. Oh, it is. Here you go. Sorry. Callback to adjust the velocity of a body as seen by the character can be adjusted to, e.g., implement a conveyor belt or an internal dampener system of a sci-fi spaceship. I don't think I need that. I have neither of those two things. So, on contact common. Not in here. Great. What? Common. Oh, okay, fine. That's not part of the interface. Fine. On contact added. I suspect we want this. Called whenever the character collides with a body for the first time. So what do they do? So they do on contact common, okay, and then if in character equals the character, So it's basically so on contact common is their implementation of on contact added. On contact common, draw a box around the character when it enters the sensor. Okay, I don't have sensors, that's fine. Not yet, but that is good to know. Yeah, it is. Dynamic boxes on the ramp go through all the permutations. Don't have that. If we encounter an object that the player can push, enable sliding. So we don't think I need any of that. On contact persisted. Cool when the character persists colliding with a body. They just call on contact common. I don't see any of this stuff that I care about. Do you know what I mean? Will this just work? Now that I've registered a listener, is that just enough to make it work? Look at common, that will move. Okay, fine. Let me. So we think common does something. So on contact added calls on contact common, and on contact common does what? Draw a box around the character when it enters the sensor. Don't care. Dynamic boxes on the ramp go through all the permutations. I don't have dynamic boxes on a ramp. If we encounter an object that can push the player, enable sliding. I don't have that. I'm just curious. The fact that it has a listener, is that enough to get it? Well, it must. If those are just responding to events, right, it must be able to process those events, right? Otherwise, how would I... Do you see what I mean? Like, the fact that I've now added a listener implies that I can listen to things. Let's do on contact added and then log it and then just see. There was like wasn't there like a logging one? But let's just do this for my own sanity. Let's do. It definitely doesn't like character contact. Let's go to Jolt and do hash include. I'm going to take a stab in the dark here. Physics collision. Ooh. Character. Okay, that's... Pretty sure it does override. I could be wrong. Often am. Protected. It's got different... protection. I will check in a minute. I just wonder if I can get... Why is it... I need to know where... What the hell's that doing up there? Get off here. Right, where does this... What was it called? I've already... Hang on, wait a minute. Whoa. I've already forgotten what it's called. Character contact. RG, what do you reckon? Class? Character contact? Struct? Okay. This is worried that character contract's going to be used bloody everywhere. Well, it's using character virtual.cpp, so let me just check what that is doing. Although, obviously not a transitive include. Character was it? What was the type called? Character contact. Hang on, wait a minute. I think I think I'm doing this wrong. Let's do this and then do on contact added, and then we'll do... Wait a minute, is that a different type? Yeah, that's... Hey? Oh, I've got on contact common. I've copied the wrong one. Sorry. Absolute fool of a took. Hang on. GPH those. GPH. Ugh, hate everything. Right. I want a linker error. We get a linker error if you declare an override but don't define it. Yeah, nice. Okay. Virtual character controller. Log debug here. Maybe. Okay, right. Let's see if we can get this triggered. An hour in, and all I managed to do is make two shapes fall through the floor. Okay, I don't think we've got anything in the logs there. Which is upsetting. So why is that not simulating it then? I'm missing a step somewhere. Do I need to... Is that in a body need to be added as a rigid body somewhere? So let's go back to here. All right, so where is this m-inish? This min standing shape, right? So that's restore state, don't care about that. That's initialize. So here we go. If we set the inner standing shape, which we have, how does one... Oh, what's this? What's this? This looks... Right, handle input. Switch... Oh, that's if you switch the stance, which I feel like that inner shape needs to be poked into the physics system somewhere. Am I right? Am I mad? RG minna standing shape. See, this is just assigning it. I don't... Where does it get... Because even when we create the rigid body, right? We still have to somewhere create an add body through the interface, right? You still have to add that body in, and I can't see where that happens. Let's follow this. Right, okay, let's follow this through. Maybe there's a kind of set start. Oh, I see what you mean. So set... I don't think that is. There's only set shape. And this just overrides it when you switch the stance. Right. Let's follow this through. So when in fact, actually, let's do this. Let's see if we can do this in the code. Virtual character controller. I hope this works. Right. So when all we do is we create a new character virtual, right? So let's... where's the actual code for this? Where are the constructors? Controller character virtual, sorry. Character virtual. Right, okay. See, she does have the physics system here, right? They call set in a shape, and I thought M in a body shape. And I give it a layer as well. Unless it's the layer that's buggering us up. I'm pretty sure the static objects are set to the static layer. They have a moving layer, which is a bit... set... They only so they only do set in a shape after the construction. So if you want to change from the standing to the crouching position, you don't have access to these settings anymore. You have to go via the character and do character set in a body shape. So you only do that if you want to update it after construction. Right. So where do they use? Right. So where? Right. Okay. Set mass. Set max strength. Create an inner rigid body if requested. So it does create it. Body create settings. Body get body interface. Add body. So it does get added to the physics system. AC, hello. So this is been added, right? Which means is it the layers? Is that what's tripping us up? When I do what layer is this created with? Create box. debug renderer. It is static. When I deserialize them, because they're effectively loaded. Oh, Jesus Christ, hang on. Let's do scene. Create rigid body. Create box static. So it is they're all on the same physics layer. Okay. I think we can rule. I'm like 99. I don't think I even use dynamic anywhere. Oh, interesting. My broad face filter only checks for things if they're dynamic. Oh, plot twist. Oh, Christ. So my thing needs to be dynamic. Oh, what a fool. Is it just as easy as doing this? Because obviously the rigid body's not going to be static. Why would I ever think it would be? Yeah, what fool it took. Mate, if this just works, absolutely unbelievable. What? Oh, there it is. Okay, still not. I was like, I think we need to check that is working. I have no thoughts on Box 3D because I've not used it yet. And I probably, in all honesty, probably won't. Not because I don't think it's not has the idea to be great or anything. It's just that I'm just very much in bed with Jolt at the moment. Maybe on a future project, but I think if I can build out all this in Jolt, there's no reason why I wouldn't keep using it. So this will return true if either of those objects are dynamic. Is that not the same? If either of them are dynamic, return true. Let me just... I feel like it's there for a frame as well. Do you see that? Like it's... Come back. I'm slightly faster than gravity. Well, not gravity. It's in something in free fall in gravity. I just want to double check. Yeah, you don't get anything here. Well, I thought I already had registered a contact listener. Sorry, thank you. I already have registered a contact listener here, right? Which should be calling into this. I don't know. So there's basically two potential issues, right? One is that I've not correctly added it to the physics system, and the other is that I've not correctly configured collisions within the physics system. I mean, they both could be true as well, but those are sort of the two issues. I don't have listeners on the other objects. I don't think I need them because when we started, we did have just a rigid body that would free fall. But do you need to set a listener? I see what you mean. Is the point you're trying to make that are they without a listener? Will they not generate contact events? That seems a little bit far-fetched. But I do see your point. So you're saying something like physics system dot get interface dot get set. I don't even know how you would set the listener. I'm happy to try and figure this one out. So we have the interface, and this gets you like position and stuff of the. There's no like set. As far as I can tell, there's no listener in here. All right. All right. Get position. All right. Listen. Right. So there's no within the body interface, which is so far how we've interacted with all the bodies. There is no listener through that. Doesn't mean there isn't elsewhere. I'm trying to think where. System dot add step listener, and what's this there's set contact listener. Doesn't GPH have a? Didn't we find this like logging listener somewhere? Did I make that up? Character contact listener. Logging character contact listener. So that needs to be in logging character. Jolt. Well, that's in their unit tests. Ugh, gross. I don't think I can So I can access that. Don't do this. Oh, it does not like that. Don't blame it. I suppose the actual easiest thing to do is to prove this out. Let's do physics system. Let's do public GPH contact listener, which we know I don't actually have to implement anything for, and then I can do this. So that will give the whole physics system a contact listener. I think this is it. I think this is the stream. Whoa, 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 whoa. What have I broken? There's a because there's a difference between a character contact listener and a contact listener, isn't there? This looks like a header include issue somewhere. Oh, is it just general headers? Yeah, what man, that is an absolute pain in the ass. Only the compiler can be like, I don't like this header being here, not like, here's the cascading set of errors because you put the header in the wrong place. Right, something fell through the floor. I didn't get any logs, so it was a good idea. I don't think that's it. The physics system has added the inner rigid body. So why is it not, when I call update, why is it not updating that? What's that rando one I put? In collision steps. Oh, my favorite. Finalize contact cache and call contact point, remove callbacks with 2 zeros. Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I think jump layers moving is our dynamic one as well. Let's try something wild because I'm running out of ideas. Why can I not? Okay. Stupid keyboard. The capsule does not collide, and that is the problem that I'm trying to fix. It's like make all over again. Oh shit, I need to schedule some shorts. Fuck. Right. Sorry. Okay. So the issue is our layering system. Because he is straight up not going through that. And presumably, if I give him a wee little nudge, we will see him fall off the edge of the world. How? I've got a whole bunch of shorts edited. They're just sitting in the YouTube studio waiting to be given a title and then scheduled. Like I've got shorts for days. Okay, right. Ooh. Yeah. Fuck you. Okay, right. We're doing it. We are doing it. So the question now, fundamentally, is what have I done with this? Layering system. So are the layers incorrect? Why am I not watching the cup? Because I do not care. In the nicest possible way. It is not my thing. The only reason I was in any way even remotely interested in England is because I was just thought if we win, we might get a public holiday. That's the only reason I cared. Because there's a difference between... Maybe I need to better understand this, because there's a difference between object layer pair filtering and object broad phase layer filtering, and I'm not sure I fully understand the difference, and I'm not sure why. I think I might have to go back and look at what they do. Has this got any docs? Class the test of an object can collide with a broad phase layer. So I guess broad phases can have layers as well as objects, but what I don't understand is the interplay between them. Can they exist on different objects? So can I have a static and dynamic object layer, but then I can have a broad phase layer where they all exist? I guess the question is like, which of these fixed it? Yeah, that's what the broad phase does. Is it uses its internal like fast accelerated hierarchy to get a potential list of collisions with only false positives, so they might not collide. So I think you're guaranteed to get everything that does collide, but you might get some extras. Okay, so that seems important. So let's revert that and try this one. In which case, I've never set a layer on a broad phase, as far as I can tell. Oh, okay. So they're both needed. Is that what I've experimentally proven? Both of these are wrong. I guess it must do these in a hierarchy. I wonder if it does this first, then this. So what? So hang on. Whoa. What is... Fail to class the test if two objects can collide based on their object layer. Use modified collision pairs. So this one I understand, okay? And we basically say if either of these are dynamic, let's hang on, let's physics layer 1, physics layer 2. I may need in here, and I've already got the formatter. Okay. Okay, usually want objects that don't collide with each other in different broad phase layers. So have I just not added any of these to a broad phase layer? Because at the moment I just want everything in the broad phase layer, right? There's no reason for them to not be. I wonder if that's probably the optimization, right? I'm thinking about it. Okay, so static dynamic. So it is getting something that is dynamic in there. So why is that? Yeah. So I think yes, I think the issue is right. I think I understand now. This allows us to set a hierarchy of things that should collide. So everything will only collide if it's in, well, you set the rules, right? So given any two layers, we will say where they collide. Within that layer, right, I suspect it then calls this, and this then does a further check. So we will by necessity, all static and dynamic objects must exist in the broad phase layer, right? Because the dynamic object might interact with any of them. However, we don't want to pay the cost of intersecting static with static, because we know, right, that they will never move apart because they're static. So that's when this comes in. So we can basically, so this should effectively always return true, right? Because we're going to only have one broad phase layer, right? We're going to shove everything in that. And then within here, we basically want to say, okay, if one of them is dynamic, should you actually continue? So I really don't understand why this is now not working. Because this basically says always return true. And here we're saying if either of them dynamic, but let me run it. Let me run it with the logging so you guys can see. So that chips off down there. Then if we go up here, look, objects should collide, static dynamics, right? So there are some statics and sometimes dynamic static. Because this is what we want, right? We don't want all these statics to be colliding with each other. So only if either of them are dynamic should we return. God bloody damn it. Sorry. Right. See, look, static dynamic. But there are some statics, which I suspect are the static objects in the same broad phase, or at least been passed through because of that true. But we don't care about those. We only care if either of these is dynamic. So that's the bit I'm missing. Why is this not? This suggests to me then that something is mislayered. Something has the wrong layer somewhere. Because if we say always return true, always handle every single collision, it works, right? So what we're basically doing is at some point this is incorrectly returning false, right? This is the character layer static. Oh, yes. Well done. These should be dynamic, shouldn't they? Ah, oh, yes. I think you might have solved it. I remember it's like, oh, why am I putting static here? Fool. Me the fool, not you the fool. Okay, I think he walked forward there and then fell off the edge. Utils. So let's just see if this works. Like this. We may... Okay, right, we're there. I think that's a commit, that. That is a commit. So let's do... be honest, I think this is a bit of a miserable like one commit, which is pretty much just like add collision support, collision handling to virtual character controller. Nice. Okay, we're getting there. So now what I want to do is I want to attach the camera, attach the player camera to the rigid body. Okay. So let's do physics system. So this is going to need a auto character controller, virtual character controller, something like that. Do I ever need to have a const version of it? No, I think physics system is always non-const. I don't think there's any way you could really get hold of it. Oh, because you access it through the service allocator. The service locator doesn't really make sense anyway. What did I call it? It's like character player controller, obviously. I'll change that to steady player controller. All right, okay. That's cool. I've never really modded a game. That sounds really interesting. Right, so let's go to main. Not been here in a while. Let's do where we do the physics system. Probably don't even need this anymore. Get rid of that. In fact, I think we can get rid of a lot of the extra fluff that we added. We don't need this anymore. Okay, so where do we have the physics system? So that's there. So I think I can do auto player controller equals physics. I think this reference will still be valid even when I move this into the service locator. No, I've not heard of that, but it sounds interesting. Okay, so then after all this is done, we want to, before we update the physics, we want to do scene dot I only want, that's where we need to start pulling out the cameras, I think, because I only want to do it if I've got the player camera. I think I can. I don't know if we're going to do it tonight, but I think next stream is definitely going to be a big refactor. Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to do this anyway for now. So set position to be player control. So I want to see if this works. Player controller dot position. So this should now move us along when the game runs. No, I don't really care. In that's what's way. Not my thing. What? What? What have I done? I've missed off a... Oh. Oh, I bet it's off the anonymous namespace. Yes, it is. Okay, classic. Like that? Do you reckon? Like that? Looking good. Looking good. So when this starts, we should just move forward, then fall through the floor. Then I'll remove that code, but at least we're kind of there. We've got collision detection for the capsule working, and hopefully now that I've attached the player to it, we should walk forward and then fall through the floor. Gameplay. Also, like, my other character has no choice but to just tag along for the ride now. But I still can move a little bit. Okay. Get rid of that. Okay, so we just expose player controller from physics system. Yes, I know. Yeah, we can adjust all that later. I think half an hour. Right. I think we should start on the refactor because it's going to be quite big. I think. What do I think? I think we want more abstraction. I'm not even joking. I generally think I want more abstraction. I think I want some sort of actor class. And that could have player or the free cam implementation. Okay. And then both of those, one of those will only ever be active at once. Okay. We can just allocate both of them, and then we can just have a pointer to one of them and just switch between them. We will give it an update method with the current key map, right, which will then allow it to decide how it's going to move. So the player can respond to a wazard, and the free cam can respond to a wazard QE, so it can move up and around. It will then need some sort of update method, and that's where in the player one, it will have also be constructed with a reference to the player controller, and that's where it will set the position to it. Yes, so the free cam one will just use the input and set the position manually because there's no physics. The player one will translate that to a linear velocity, set that on the underlying controller, and then set the camera to it. So then each actor will own a camera. Is that right? I think that's right, because I think even if we had like an AI, like an enemy actor, we might want a camera on it anyway, so we could debug render from its point of view, or use that for maybe occlusion checking and stuff like that. So, and then we'll have to ham that into the renderer, right? So I think we can start basically abstracting this out now. So as always, the question will be, where do we put it? Probably core. I think core is going to be about as good as it's going to get. So let's do e source core actor.h. It's helpful for me just to start. Interfaces is the hard part, right? Everything else is just typed on the keyboard. So let me. I also really want to refactor the key input. I wonder if I should do that first. So at the moment we have key state, which is a unordered map, which is a little bit. I just don't think it's great. Like, that feels to me like it should be just bits, right? Like a bit mask of which ones are currently set. I wonder if I just abstract that out first, and then we can just pass round that. Well, I think you just used a bit set, right? Because, right, okay, ooh, interesting. Let's do E source core. Or maybe events. keymap.h, because it kind of fits in with that anyway. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but so I think right. Okay, this is fun. This is fun. I think we can do this header only as well. I think most of it can technically be const explorer. Let's do class keymap. Right. So effectively, what we want is const explorer auto set, and then that should take a UFPS key. Might as well make this hard coded on my own types, right? Hash include events key, all right? So set key state, right? I think that's, yeah, no, not keys, event. All right. Because this says where it's the up or down and what the key is, right? So we basically say this will process a key event, right? Okay, this will process that, and then we can do const explorer auto is set. And this will just take the key. There's no point passing the whole thing in key. All right, and that'll be a bool. Const, and then this will be a void, right? So key is this enum. Obviously, it doesn't start at 0, and we don't actually. We will need to scale this so that I can add more keys without ever having. My design goal is to be able to scale this so that it doesn't matter what's in that enum. Reflection, right? Let's do bit set. All right. Stood bit set, like some number, right, to be determined at compile time. Map. Oh, hang on. Right. Okay. Fine. Okay. Right. Wait with me. Right, getting excited now. Right, let's do hash include meta. Right, let's do name space impl. Let's do const expra auto max val for the size t. Okay, let's do return stood max. Or can we do stood meta enumerators of, right, reflect UFPS key, right, pipe 2 stood views transform. So this will then get a auto meta info, return the two underlying, splice the E back. What do we think? Where's stood underlying? In utility. I don't think that's my issue. So can we go through all the compile time, go through all the enumerators of the key, convert them to their integral type, and then pick the max of them. And then that means we can then do impl max val. Right, we're going to have to try this out now. Hash include events. Oh man, this is now much more fun than whatever I was going to do. Let's just do key. Let's do auto key map equals UFPS key map. Maybe unused. Oof. These are like weird errors with nowhere near where I am. Why is this? What were the errors? Hang on. Sorry, I didn't realize I was so on a roll there. Size versus size team. Fair sure you're missing out. Right, sorry. Oh, yes. Sorry. And I'm missing a... like that. Thank you. That would explain those errors, because they were... I'm still... hang on, wait a minute. That. Oh, the dynamic array or whatever it is. Stood static array, isn't it? It doesn't like this. Here you go. Here we go. E is not a... Oh, no. You can't have const expr. This only works at const expr time, and arguments are not... function arguments are technically not const expr. I think what we need to do is probably use some sort of boomer loop. Auto min... Sorry. Max equals stood size t, right? Well, sorry, it'll be a modern age one, so we'll do template for const expr auto e in stood meta enumerators of reflect UFPS key, and do if max is less, if max is greater than splice e, max equals hang on, const auto val equals the two underlying splice E, and do val max equals val. No, because you don't know if this, you can't guarantee the first one starts at 0, right? Otherwise, you would just do stood range size of the enumeration. The issue here is that key doesn't start at 0, and you can't guarantee it will. So you have to go through each one and find which is the maximum one. Also, they're not guaranteed. I don't know what these values are. They could be smaller or greater than this. I have to go through each one and splice the meta info representing the enumerator back to value space so I can keep track of the maximum. I think that's correct. Well, obviously not in this case because it's all gone bang. Not a constant expression. Oh, this was where I need that stood. Is it like define static array? There's some magic that makes this work, right? No, but then how do I index into it? If I'm given... Hang on, there's no way this is going to work. Oh, oh. Anyway, what I'm saying is when I come to set right this key, if I'm given like this, what index do I pick? The easiest thing is just to pick this index, right? And just make it big enough. Whereas then if I just make it big enough, like, I don't know, also I just want to write some reflection as well. So main player controller. Also, I reckon we could do something funky where we scale it back to 0. So we because obviously if the first value is, say the first value there is ox48, you're never going to fit anything in those first 48 bits, which is a bit of a waste of space. If we know the minimum and the maximum, mate, that just worked. The fourth func is the fourth in the HRI. Yes, but what I'm thinking now is we could create a relative index. If max... Sorry, you're correct. It shouldn't matter. If I create the minimum and the maximum, then whatever... I could set this to be max minus min, which would be the absolute number of elements, and then I could just subtract the min at compile time off of each of them. In fact, would you ever need to know... Would you ever... Sorry, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself now. Would you ever need to runtime know what the key is? Or is it always going to be, I just need to check if A is pressed? Like, could that be templated on that? Do you see what I mean? Like, when would you ever be like, roll the dice and turn that number into a key and check if it sets? Like, surely the code's always going to be, if this specific key... Oh, like, I'm probably giving Harand an absolute aneurysm doing all this. But, like, is that not better? This has to be runtime. Right, because you don't know what the key event is going to be a priori, because that's just going to pop out of the event handler, which might mean it doesn't work anyway. But this, I think if you templated this, it'd be about as fast as it could be, right? So hang on. to check if it's really used if you allow the user to change them. Oh, what a great point. You're right. If the user remaps it, does that... Intriguing. Okay. I had not considered that. And do I want to consider it now? What does it mean for the user to remap it? So if they want it to be the letter T instead of W, I would have to look that up, and that'd have to be dynamically resolved, because I'm not going to recompile the game just for them with that key map. Okay, fine. We'll keep it runtime. That being said, I still feel like I still don't understand how the counting enums is going to work. So when I get key H here, right, how do I translate that into the index it's in within all the arrays without reflecting out again? But I think what we can do is we can compress this space, right? Hello. If min is greater than val, min equals val, right? So that will give us the min-max range of the enum. Okay, so then this would be const expr auto size t const min max equals min max val, return max minus min. So this will allow us size. So does that work? Okay, and then what we can do is we can do const expr auto to index UFS key k, right? And then do that returns the to underlying k minus min, right? So that will give us a 0 index into the thing, right? So then when we do that, we do const auto index equals import to index event dot key. Return type. Oh yes, you're right. I mean, it will use it, but let's be explicit. Okay, and then we can get the index, and then we need to do how do you set? What's the bit twiddling math for setting a bit to a specific value. Oh, was there a super chat? Oh, yes, there was. Sorry. I'm so sorry I missed that. Thank you, Jason. How very kind of you. And I'm sorry I nearly missed that. I'm super in the zone with this, which is a terrible excuse. C set bit to value. I don't want to toggle it. I don't want to flip it. I want to set it to a very specific value. So I think I do map equals no, that'll only. Do I need to say if I'm setting or clearing it and then just do that on an if? Yeah, but that sets it to what? Why? But what? By set, I mean set it to 1 or 0 depending on what I want, right? I think I might need to do. Just change the 1. Well, no, because 0. No, that won't work, right? Because if I do, what you're saying is do that, right? But if I change that to 0, 0 shifted to the left is always 0. I think what you have to do is if event.state equals key state. If it's down, then we do that. Else, I want to do map. I want to clear it, right? So and equals tilde 1 index. You might be able to combine those, but I think that's what I want. Thank you very much. And then I just do return map index. I think that's all we need, right? I think that encapsulates, and then all we can do is we can just pump events into this, have them update whatever's going on, and then we can just query it to be super. Oh, hang on a minute, no, I made a mistake here. Oh no, wait a minute, no, to index automatically does adjust for it. That's fine. I should probably write some tests for this. I might do that first thing next stream, or off stream, but let's just wire this in just to check it doesn't explode. So when we get key event, I think all this gubbins is going to go away, right? And we'll just do key map dot set arg. Yeah, I think if this doesn't go bang, then I might just write some tests because it's just checking stuff, right? Oh, is there a map.set? I don't often use bitmap. You might be right. That might actually be better. In fact, actually, does the square bracket work? It probably doesn't return you like a weird proxy object like vector bool does. You might be right. I think it is probably set. There is set. Set bits to true or given value. Set pos value. Nice. So what we can do there, we can do map set index event dot state equals key state down. Nice. Much easier. That's much nicer. And it's const expr. So, you know, we can do all this runtime input handling at compile time. Oh, it was fun. Bit of reflection. Nice. We're there. We're doing it. That crashed. That did go bang. But why? I got off by one error somewhere. If I had 2 items, the maximum would be... Yes, this needs to be +1 ZU. Don't think I built that. Yeah, you can find all my dot files. I think they're mostly up to date. I have been tweaking it a little bit recently. And they might not be pushed up, but most of it's there. Nice. Back in business. Cool. Okay, I'll write some tests for that. But I think that's kind of nice. I really wish this could be like a stud algo or something, but it's still got template expansion in there, so it still did some reflectioning. I'm getting a little bit more into the mentality of reflection now. Like I've started to recognize some of the patterns. I'm starting to think more about like what I can use it for. And the problem is now I'm going to overuse it and everything because I think it's incredible. But I'm in that mindset now where I can like, oh yeah, I think I can solve that with reflection, which is nice. Stuff like that is so nice to be able to do that. Like I think this is really, I'm really pleased with this. This is a nice little fun bit of C++, this. Okay. Didn't get very far in my actor though, did I? Keymap. Keymap. Integrate into, Jesus Christ. Main 3. Let's do let's do some miserable merge because I have multiple branches in flight. Stream 48. I didn't want to rebase because then I would lose the tags, whereas normally I would rebase. Right, stick that in the git hole. Right, because I fixed the build. I fixed the CI build. I had some issues with that, so I fixed that on the old physics branch where I'd already branched off to do the character controller. So I had to merge those back in. And like I said, normally I would rebase and it was a clean merge, so it probably would have cleanly rebased, but I risked losing some of the tags, which I don't want to do. So that is more important. I probably should push those tags up. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got, methinks. Quick look, see if anyone's doing any C++. Other than that, thank you very much for choosing to spend your evening or your time with me. I very much appreciate it. New video soon. I'm working about halfway through at the moment. It's a C++ video, so not too much, no reverse engineering or very minimal, so should be a bit of fun. But like, it's just in this heat, like it's been a real slog. A real slog. So I'm slowly chipping my way through it. Right, anyway, I think that's all I've got. I'm going to have a beer. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. I very much appreciate it. There's a Discord. You should come along. It's great. other than that, I'm planning on streaming Wednesday, but I am traveling a bit for work at the moment, so that all assumes I can get back in time. Other than that, I'll see you all anon.